today's lecture, we will discuss about thinking the unthinkable, need for innovation in design process. Well, what is innovation? Innovation, this word you may be hearing for like quite some time now. It's in the vogue, it's in the trend, and everybody is talking about innovation. Well, innovation is a process where we come up with something very, very novel, something very, very new, you know, a fresh approach which gives, a significant improvement from the like a existing scenario to the renewed scenario to the new scenario. So it's like if you want to like whatever condition you are in, wherever, like whether it is about design, whether it about improving like a process or a product, or a service or a business model, or improving even like anything in and around you, like your like a thing you can look around, just look around. Okay, so around wherever you see like a something like some opportunity, like there is some issue, something new, and if you try to improvise, if you try to improve upon with the, like a something very very out of the box solution, something very very like a novel in terms of like approach or adoption or a improvement, so that process generally is known as a like a innovation, though there are some other definitions also, some other interpretations also, but innovation is an approach which improves significantly with an out of the box solution. So this is what we mean. Let's see like what others have to say about like what innovation is. So there was this survey conducted by this company over here, and they actually spoke with the working professionals, 15-year-old like kids, and first year like undergraduates, and general public. So what do they found? So they have actually given in a form of like a word cloud over here. So this the terms you can see over here, the actually keywords you can see over here that actually define like the understanding of innovation with this set of like a people. So working professionals associate more with like a new breakthrough, unique, creative, out of the box, smart, original, efficient, creative, originality, creativity, enticing, improvement, empathy, novelty, solution, problems, reinvention, creation, means to end, creative, epiphany, differentiating, problem solving, ideating, so ideas, so imagination, improvement, so these are the actually associated words which this set of like a people associated themselves with. Secondly, if we see like this 15-year old like this group, what they associated with, the majority of them actually spoke for like this creativity, creation. Some actually said even like lol, so new, so imagination. So these are the actually common words you can see for the first year undergraduate students: new, design, design odyssey, creative, unique, ideas, useful, development. And in the last one with the general public, the breakthrough, creativity, new, creative, future, education, imagination, meaning, smart, life changing, daring, ideas, different, technology, creation, fresh, unseen, innovation. So these are the actually associated keywords. Well, you are not wrong if you are if you also have come up with these words in your like a mind when I the moment I spoke of like this word, this magic word like innovation. So these are all true. It depends on the kind of like a circumstances and the context in which you are going to innovate, and you are going to innovate what, so it depends on that. So all of this could actually become like a qualities of like any like a innovation which one can like think of. So let's see some more understanding about innovation, like how actually this innovation is like a broken down into like a several processes and procedures, and organizations, institutes, even companies, or even like a layman, even like a grassroots workers, students, children, anybody can participate in like these innovative challenges. We will see some real life examples in this lecture. So very interesting examples actually I have tried to collect and deliver it to you. So anybody can think of like a such interventions, in their like spheres of their work. So in this table, if you see, the elaboration over here is about like understanding the 10 types of innovation. So what are those? So those are divided into like a three major actually components. Those are configuration based, offering based, and experience based. So what is in configuration based? If you see, like a profit model, networking, structure, process. In offering, actually this is a product performance, a product system, and in experience actually aspect, it's about like a customer engagement, brand, channel, service. So you see, like these are actually domains which are actually like a domains which touch almost like anything and everything. They are touching actually products, they are touching actually services, they are touching actually business model, value systems, experiences, such as like a experience of any service. For example, if we are going to actually a retail store, so what kind of experience can be given to the visitor, can be given to the actually shopper, you know to enhance the actually experience, to actually meet the expectations in like a very novel and interesting ways. So well, innovation is there like everywhere. So if you see like here in the like a branding, so the how we are actually in today's time, we have discussed in the consumerism chapter, we are actually surrounded by information overload. We are surrounded by actually n number of products for like a who are like a promising, which are like a promising, to fulfill our like a n number of requirements. Even if we do not have the requirement, they are enticing us to feel to to feel that urge to buy actually that product. So they are all actually taking help of this innovation as a process, and they are trying to actually register a growth and development in their like a business profiles. Further, even in networking, even in profit models, so everywhere innovation we will see in the like a next slide. So this is where I have taken some actually lecture examples from like a TED. You may be aware of this platform. So TED is a platform you may be aware of already. You may have seen like some videos, some very inspiring, interesting videos they actually prepare and present with the audience. Technology, entertainment, and design. So this is what it constitutes for this word like a TED. So I have actually taken these next few slides from like a TED website, where they have actually spoken about how to fuel innovation. How to ignite innovation in the minds, and in which are actually those areas, which are those actually domains, and what are those like a times, like how it can actually can be like a spur at any given time, at any given location, by any person. So some examples, some lectures examples. So these are just examples. I'm not elaborating on these. Videos are actually copyright of TED, actually this platform. So it is recommended that you visit this TED platform, search for like these videos and watch them, because it's not possible also to show actually these videos through this lecture. But they are really inspiring. They are really actually will open up our understanding like in how many ways innovation is possible, and even like how we can participate for like a innovation at our own places. So this is very interesting. So the first one here, the actually presenter talks about, the presenter is like Steven Johnson. He talks about where good ideas come from. So people often credit their ideas to individual eureka moments, but Steven Johnson shows how history tells a different story. His fascinating tour takes us to from the liquid networks of London's coffee houses to Charles Darwin's long, slow hunch to today's high velocity web. So in this actually video, the presenter, actually the speaker, talks about like a innovation, like anywhere it can happen. It's not just the like a scientist when they actually stumble upon like any extraordinary finding or some like a innovation. It's not, the innovation is not limited to that only. It can happen even with you while you are relaxing somewhere in the like you are soaking yourself in sun, you are reading a book, you are taking a bath, you are pondering over something, or any moment. So innovation is very very spontaneous. Innovation is like a very very natural. So you have to be actually cautious and aware of what is going on in your own brain. You have to actually keep focusing on your thoughts, what are the thoughts coming, and how you can transform those thoughts into some kind of a reality. So that is the process which you can associate, you can call it as like innovative process. The next video, this presenter like Adam Grant, it talks about the surprising habits of original thinkers. So in this one, like how do creative people come up with great ideas? Organizational psychologist Adam Grant studies originals thinkers who dream up new ideas and take action to put them into the world. In this talk, learn three unexpected habits of originals, including embracing failure. The greatest originals are the ones who fail the most, because they're the ones who try the most. Grant says you need a lot of bad ideas in order to get a few good ones. Well, this is very important. This is very important to attempt. And while you are attempting anything and everything, even in your studies, even in your projects, even in your like an entrepreneurship, anywhere, you must actually attempt. And while attempting, there are high chances the person may fail a few times, and it's very very normal. There is nothing wrong in actually failing, because if you fail like a 2 3 times, obviously it's for like a sure that you will be performing much better at the next time. And definitely you can come up with you can actually generate some idea, finally, like you remember the Thomas Alva Edison, like he actually, that like a single scientist has like hundreds of actually patents in his name. And how he did, though, he keep on actually working, he keep on focusing on his work, n number of times, and he kept coming actually with new ideas. He at times he has worked on very like weird ideas also, which we can like discard just like that. It's just a silly idea. So actually the silly ideas, the weird ideas have the greatest potential. They have actually this greatest actually content of innovativeness, or like the freshness, if they are able to realize. But sadly we do not try. We actually feel discouraged after like a few attempts, and actually that idea dies. So this is very important to understand this process over here, to fail in order to succeed in the next term. So it's very important. Okay, in the next this lecture, Tanya Menon, she talks about the secret to great opportunities, the person you haven't met yet. We often find ourselves stuck in narrow social circles and similar people. What habits confine us and how we break them? Organizational psychologist Tanya Menon considers how we can be more intentional about expanding our social universe and how it can lead to new ideas and opportunities. Well, this is also very like an important actually point, because mostly like our peer group remains the same for a longer period of time. And like meeting people, like the becoming part of the melting pots, you may end up with some actually fresh ideas for your research, for your project, for your entrepreneurship, for your business model or anything. So meeting people, interacting with them, sharing the ideas, catching the ideas from the conversations is very important. So for that, actually one must not limit himself or herself to the group of people whom you are comfortable with, but you must actually venture out. You must meet actually new people, must interact, must share with the like the new people, and it is highly likely that you may actually end up striking a new idea. Like, why do we go for like conferences? Why do we organize conferences? Why like a scientists and engineers and designers or architects keep moving from like a place to place? Why do they like interact with people? Why do they go and see different places? Because by seeing, by this interaction, by this experience, there are high chances that you will come across some new ideas. So these are the actually inputs I'm trying to give you, like how you can actually be part of the whole process of this innovation. So this is very important to understand actually these. So you must actually refer these videos in your leisure time, because I'm pretty sure you will find them inspiring. The next talk by Navi Rajau, it talks about like creative problem solving in the face of extreme limits. Navi Rajau has spent years studying Jugaad, also known as frugal innovation. Well, I'm sure like some of us are like already aware of this word Jugaad, pioneered by entrepreneurs in emerging markets who figure out how to get spectacular value from limited resources. The practice has now caught on globally. Preparing his talk with a wealth of examples of like a human ingenuity at work, Rajao has also shares three principles of for how we can all do more with less. So obviously, working within the resources, working in the limited resources. Okay, this is one of the actually traits of like us, like in our country majorly we are not at par, like our per person GDP is relatively very low, we have studied in the previous lectures. Okay, but still, like how the Indian people have learned to cope up with the circumstances, how they have learned how to thrive in the challenging like circumstances. So this is one of the actually important and innovative actually traits to survive, because like how to navigate your ways, like how to deal with circumstances, how to deal with the like scarcity, how to deal with the limitations of resources, or availability of resources, and things like that. So availability of resources should not be actually a barrier, should not be actually the limiting thing for you, so don't think of yourself as that you do not have access to like this and that and that and that, but you can innovate in any given circumstances, so there are some examples I have kept in this video in the next slides. They are waiting for actually I'm waiting to show those examples. You will get to see like how the people from like a grassroots level, they have actually thought like in a novel way, and they have come up with interesting actually examples. Okay, so the next set of lectures, this is from like Manoj Jamorodi. She talks about like how boredom can lead to your most brilliant ideas. Do you sometimes have your most like creative ideas while folding laundry, washing dishes, or doing nothing in particular, or maybe while you are doing a bathroom singing in your bathroom? It's because when your body, goes on autopilot, your brain gets busy forming new neural connections, that connect ideas and solve problems. Learn to love being bored at Manoj Jamorodi explains the connection between spacing out and creativity. So there is no actually particular time that you switch on your brain and start like innovating, or you switch off your brain and stop innovating. So your brain actually keeps working all the time as long as it's conscious and awake, so any moment, even if you are sitting idle somewhere, you can come up with novel ideas. Next, by Simon Gertz, why you should make useless things. In this joyful, heartfelt talk featuring demos of her like a wonderfully wacky creations, Simone Gertz shares her craft making useless robots. Her inventions designed to chop vegetables, cut hair, apply lipstick, and more. Rarely, if ever, succeed, and that's the point. The true beauty of making useless things is this acknowledgement that you don't always know what the best answer is. Gates says it turns off that voice in your head that tells you that you know exactly how the world works. Maybe a toothbrush helmet isn't the answer, but at least you are asking the question. Well, the idea over here is the point which I mentioned in the like a beginning. They don't get stopped, don't get actually boggled by the wacky ideas, or the weird thoughts, or silly ideas, because they have the actually largest potential. The next talk about from like a Vittorio Loreto, he talks about need a new idea, start at the edge of what is known. Where do great ideas come from? Starting with this question in mind, Vittorio Loreto takes us on a journey to explore a possible mathematical scheme that explains the birth of the new. Learn more about the adjacent possible, the crossroads of what's actual and what's possible, and how studying the math that drives it could explain how we create new ideas. Well, knowing things, having like a good knowledge of actually subject matter is also very important. So you must actually devote your time to understanding what is the existing state of the art actually studies. And with this actually this course, I am trying to give you this state of the art actually knowledge pieces around these actually lectures, these topics, so that you feel like a prepared, you are ready to actually hop on to your like a next jump. Finally, in this last lecture, in this actually slides from like a Shimpei Takahashi, play this word game to come up with original ideas. Shimpei Takahashi always dreamed of designing toys, but when he started work as a toy developer, he found that the pressure to produce quashed his creativity. In the short, funny talk, Takahashi describes how he got his idea flows again, and shares a simple word game anyone can play to generate new ideas. Well, So well, he actually had this intention, this actually interest of designing like toys, to be a toys designer. But the pressure of like producing more and more and becoming part of this all of this earning game, he sometime like he got a derailment, he experienced derailment for like exploring new ideas, right? So that is what he has shared over here. You must not actually derail from your whatever is the like a pressure from the professional life, or or family life or something, and but you keep actually devoting some time for what your inner this soul, your inner actually thinking desires you to do, and that will lead you to, to come up with some novel ideas, some new innovative actually thinking. So in like a overall sense, what is this innovation thing is? So some agencies, some actually researchers, designers, they have actually given some models, bringing innovation into a structured format. One of them is given over here. So there are actually three circles, of like a business, people, and technology, around which, in its like a overlapping actually area, there is this experience of innovation one can understand. And with this actually, what by business, they mean like viability of it, by people, like desirability, whether are there like a people, are there like any need for it, or technology of course makes like a things possible, makes things actually feasible. So under the cusp of these actually three, you see over here is the experience of innovation, and between these two, like a emotional innovation, process innovation, and functional innovation. So for when the technology and people actually, there is a direct actually demand and the need is related, then that's a functional innovation, where you can innovate, and technology will be actually a service provider, technology will be a actually a problem solver. And here in like a business, that means like there is some actually process involved. So in this process, and with the help of this technology, you can improve the process, right? And between like a business, like a viability and like a desirability, of course there is a actually factor of emotion. So that is where actually this emotional innovation is actually mentioned. And at the cusp of all of these three is the total innovation, or the experience of overall innovation they are talking about. You can understand it more detail over here, like the human experience, the behavior change, so the overall actually experience of innovation comes at the cusp of these three. Recently, in the renewed context of this sustainability studies and this global warming and all of these actually new paradigm shifts which have happened, or even like happening, we are in the transition phase right now. So with the like influence of this, there is another actually addition of like a ecology over here in these the pre-existing actually these three domains. So we have this approach of a sustainability also introduced over here, and then at the cusp of these four, now it is being also proposed, there is this meaningful innovation should actually or can actually happen. So you see the importance of these sustainability and sustainability studies, and how we can strategize, to deal with the circumstances, deal with the actually changes which are happening in this entire actually ecosystem these days, and come up with some new ideas. So innovation is not limited to just one thing. Innovation can happen anywhere and everywhere. Further, there are actually from this HBR, there are four types of innovations actually they have actually given. So I have listed down over here. So on the x-axis, we have like how well is the domain defined? Well, not well defined, properly defined. And on the y-axis, we have how well is the problem defined? So not well defined and well defined. So in these actually four quarters, we can understand like in what scenario, what is the likelihood of like what kind of sustainability, what type of sustainability. So if the problem and the domain are like a clearly defined, you can have a sustaining innovation actually model, road mapping, R&D labs, design thinking, acquisitions, and if you have none of these two defined in a clear way, the even the domain is not clearly defined, even the problem is also not clearly defined, then that falls under the basic research, like research divisions, academic partnerships, journals, and conferences, they fall over here, but this factor of this innovation, the strong innovation comes in these actually three quarters, as you can see over here. If the problem is well defined, and the domain is not clearly defined, you can go through for like a breakthrough innovation, like a maverick ideas, and open innovations, and like prizes, and these competitions also actually fall under this quarter over here. And next, if the domain is well defined but the problem is not well defined, you end up with the disruptive innovations. So this is where actually these disruptive technologies, disruptive actually innovative business models, or maybe a products, or maybe a service solutions, they actually come under these actually quarter. Moving on, this is the actually, if you see, this is taken from a company Alstom. You may be aware of this as a big company. So like how they have been doing this smart mobility, so flow management, multimodality, data driven, like a rainbow mobility, autonomous trains, autonomous mobility, etc. So in this one there is this factor of green, and now the improved actually scenario involves this green factors, and with the introduction of these green actually perspective, it has become green traction, road electromobility, eco design and manufacturing. So the whole approach actually of the business model of this company, they have taken actually a new actually a path altogether. So that is where actually this innovation has come up. So this actually introduction of this green factor, has led to innovation in all of their actually aspects, like how they have been like conventionally dealing with their like product system design and process design, etc. So there are like several examples one can see. Another example from a very famous, very big company, BASF. It's a hardcore like a research and innovation based company. They have been coming up with the like a very innovative actually products for a long time, and they have given actually very functional and utilitarian products in the like a consumer to the like a people. So let's see like their journey, they have how they have actually come up with the some innovative products. So the year 1869 and onwards, the chemical industry has always driven innovation. Synthetic dyes, ammonia as a basis for like a fertilizers, polymers, etc. Like raw materials for insulation foams and packaging materials, synthetically produced vitamins, liquid crystals for like a displays, blockbuster fungicides and plant biotechnology. Over the years, however, the focus has shifted. In the 1970s, the emphasis was on developing new molecules because these innovations generated the greatest value. From the 1980s up to the end of the century, the focus increasingly moved to improving applications and adopting products. Today, the focus of innovation and value creation is moving further in the direction of functionalized materials and solutions. So, we will see some examples from this company. You see this table over here. This is taken from like the BASF like a website. So from the like 1869 and onwards, you see they have actually listed down disruptive actually innovative products what this company or the materials that this company has actually launched in the market, and they are the materials actually who have facilitated several types of like adoptions and the products in the market in the later on. Like for example, if you see the like vitamins, the fungicides, herbicides, and some like other chemical like compounds for like polymers, etc. They have actually given like the ammonia, even the coloring like dyes and dyes and pigments, they have actually created over the time, who have actually facilitated like several types of like adoptions of these products in the market. So starting from like alizarin, then indigo, actually this actually dye was actually created by this company. Then another like a version of this color was actually improved version was launched later on. Then ammonia, then methanol was also invented by this company. Polystyrene, magnetic tapes, and vitamin A, fungicides and several other things. So you see they have actually listed down these disruptive innovative actually products and techniques and technologies, what this company has developed over the years. So how this has actually changed also, if you see now their focus majorly in these recent years is on actually changing the systems. Okay, so this is where actually the systems analysis, systems mapping and system intervention becomes very important. So when we actually work around this systemic intervention and this systemic studies, the chances are more that our innovation will be applicable for a huge number of actually audience, and for like a bigger context. So this is important to actually go for like a systemic studies and analysis. Well, comparing like a international innovation index, if you see, so this is the actually data over here from 0 to like 1. So the dark green like is above like 1, and then this range is like a 0 to 0.99, then 0 to minus 0.99, and below -1, and no data. So in this one, if you see like the countries such as like US and Canada and China, Australia, and United Kingdom over here, Sweden, Norway, France, Germany, these countries and are doing actually very good on this international innovation index. Well, India is not far behind. India is also in the like a second slab over here. You can see this is in the light green. Well, but rest of the actually there is a huge, the list of the countries who are still struggling for like a this innovation in their like everyday like this R&D and other like growth and development activities. Further, like how to come up with this ideas. So for like a few like next slides, we will discuss about this approach. So what is like a design, what is like a design process? So it's very simple. You empathize. What is empathy means? Like you if you are able to feel the the experience of the person, your like a target audience, what he or she is actually going through, what kind of actually challenges they are facing, what are the kind of the pain points and gain points. If you are able to experience it in a like a much more actually subtle way, that will give you insightful ideas to come up with the most suitable solutions, most suitable actually design solutions. Then for like after empathizing, you define the problem area, define the actually whole scenario, then ideate, conceptualize, prototype, and test it. So these are actually very simple 5-step actually process of like design thinking, and this can also you can follow for like a innovation. So you must actually understand or you must actually be able to feel the scenario or the context or the like a person or whoever is your like a target audience. And then if you like take up this like a process, there are like a likelihood that you may come up with some innovative solutions. Well, there is another actually double diamond design framework, given this is one of the most used actually design processes, design methods. So here actually this works with the you first identify the opportunity area or the problem statement, and then you start like a discovering about it. You diverge, you like and try understanding, you gather the knowledge around it, you gather the understanding around it, and then you start actually refining it again and converging, and then you come up with the like a one actually a very clearly defined actually problem statement, and from here you again you start actually diverging, to consider different actually conceptualizing concepts, different actually how to deal with this situation, and finally again you start converging to deliver the solution. So this is actually double diamond you see over here. This is diverging, then it is converging, coming to a point, then again it is diverging, becoming broader, and then again it is coming to a point. So this is this double diamond actually standard template for like a design framework. Further like to test on like how the desirability, feasibility, and viability, the three circles we discussed earlier in the previous slides, so how you can actually make them problem fit, solution fit, growth fit. So you can actually have these combinations like a proof of value, proof of concept, proof of market, proof of impact. So here in this one you can assess like how successful your solution, how successful your idea is or the concept is. So this is how actually it progresses over the time. And another actually design innovation like a process is given over here, like a questioning, visualizing and understanding actually the problem, and then empathizing, and discovering. Again these terms are actually common from the double diamond this design process what we have seen earlier. And then framing the exact problem, what is it, ideating, conceptualizing, designing, detailing, and then prototyping, testing it, again, you can, if there is any like a lacuna or any like a shortcoming, you can go back, and again revise your empathy studies and all that, and then again you come up with ideation, and then again you give the solution, test it. If it succeeds, you go for the actually final like a spreading it out, or maybe archiving, or like a keeping it for like a future use. So this is actually this typical innovation design process. you know some more actually processes are given over there here, like how to probe deeper into like a queries or the scenarios. So you see over here like a how, who, what, why. So these actually questions of like a interrogation must be actually carried out properly to investigate the actually subject. So and then you make this table of like we have studied this table before, like how sustainability actually takes place between the people, products, and like places. So similarly it is given over here like a people, place, and the data. So between this, you can check your like a readiness level, and you can go for like a that like a empathetic empathy based actually understandings and insights, drawing, etc. Further, like next to that, again conceptualizations, drafting, testing, and coming with the final. So this is actually standard like a typical design process. And well, there are actually feedback loops, where feedback loops actually help us to refine the our like a processes which we have already carried out. So we can come back to those previous processes, refine the overall actually the project whatever we are doing, the innovation or the design problem what we are trying to solve, and finally like acting with the help of like the prototype or the final solution, final testing, and finally like rolling it out or implementation stage. So this is how actually further you can have your like a innovation process, design innovation actually strategy. This is how you can formulate some examples of products from like around us. You may be like a familiar of this product, like how this used to come in the like earlier times before the Apple actually made these products in a very swanky, very state of the art actually product design solutions. So the how uh, these portable music players used to come in the earlier time. They used to run on like a MP3 or such like a like a files, and they were portable with the onboard battery, and with these like a earplugs over here. So this was one of the very initial actually product solutions of like a music on the go, and how it has evolved over time. So we have this solution. So the how product innovation has actually taken place over the time, and how the product itself has become an example of like this innovation process. Further we have one very famous example of Coca-Cola bottles over here. So with the innovation, with this iterative like design process, it has adopted actually a very unique actually this shape, and size of these bottles. This unique actually the form of this bottle, and if you see like it started from one very conventional actually bottle in the like a first it was like when it was rolled out, I think more than 100 years ago, and how it has actually derived itself from in the evolution. So you can see the evolution over here, even with the like a change of the materials, but it has retained its shape, and it's like a this purity of form in like a some like up to like a certain degree. So still we can this uniqueness, the approach in this actually innovative actually ways over here is the identification of this product, so that has actually continued over the time. Well, you can look around and see several such examples of like a innovation in like a everyday like products and utilities things. So starting from like a chair to like a table, cupboard, and several other like even the shape of the buildings, the volume of the buildings, and several other like a mechanical solutions, the packaging, furniture, products, lighting. The such innovative actually solutions you can see around yourself, and you just take any one example of your like whatever is available to you, and just try decoding like what are the the major improvements, the innovation was actually carried out from the conventional product to that product, and how they have actually driven. So this will give you some understanding like how innovation actually take place. So I'm from here now onwards, I'm taking you to on a like a very fresh, very interesting actually journey of this innovation, like how the innovation actually take place and how innovation is happening in and around us. Sometimes we are aware, sometimes we are not even aware of like such innovations. So how this innovation can be actually nourished, can be actually supported with the like a organizational support system. This is one of the actually best example of like this support system, this National Innovation Foundation of India. So this NIF actually was instituted, was formed actually a few years back, and this has actually taken a major role, a leader's role in actually supporting grassroots innovations happening across India, from any corner, from anybody, from any person, whether it is a school going actually a children, or maybe a farmer, or maybe like a food grower, or maybe a labor, or maybe like a business entrepreneur, or maybe a shopkeeper, any person. Any person can actually become part of this unique actually movement, and they can seek some support from this organization. So starting from the logo, what it symbolizes. So the logo of NIS symbolizes the dynamic process of a churning of societal minds to throw up the elixir of ideas and innovations. The central dot depicts the identity of the grassroots innovators. Its green color signifies that NIF would consciously pursue only environment-friendly innovations, while striving to expand policies and institutional space for the same. So how beautiful, how thoughtful is that? The concern for this environmental actually concerns, environmental perspective is already rooted in this NIF's actually logo, and it's like a preamble. So how heartening it is to see this, and we will see in the next slides like how they have come up with some innovative actually uh, products, and how they have showcased it for like, and how they have actually brought up for the like a commercialization of those ideas. Well, so little about like a NIF before we move on to those slides. NIF scouts, supports, and spawns grassroots innovations developed by individuals and local communities in any technological field, helping in human survival without any help from a formal sector. NIF helps grassroots innovators and outstanding traditional knowledge holders to get due recognition, respect, and reward for their innovations. It also tries to ensure that such innovations diffuse widely through commercial and non-commercial channels, generating material or non-material incentives for them and others involved in the value chain. Well, so when we are talking about innovations, the talk is not complete unless we mention Professor Anil Kumar Gupta. Anil Kumar Gupta is an Indian scholar in the area of grassroots innovations. He is the founder of the Honeybee Network. He retired as like a full-time professor at the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad in 2017. He hold an executive vice chair at the National Innovation Foundation, where he is a member of its governing board also. He was awarded the Padma Shri in the year 2004, his contribution to the management education. Further, he is seen as a pioneer in the field of grassroots innovation, in which his contribution includes documenting people's knowledge with the help of team of volunteers spread across India. He helps grassroots innovators and communities build on their knowledge systems by providing help in filing patents, promoting scientific validation of these innovations by involving government scientific institutes and private individuals and bodies, and facilitating tie-ups with entrepreneurs and industrial groups. So what are the objectives of NIF? Quickly, let's have a look so that you can also associate or approach this actually organization for your innovations, for taking ahead of your ideas, and your actually disruptive actually, concepts which can be utilized, which can be useful for like something somewhere. So the NIF India was set up by the Department of Science and Technology, under the Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, in February year 2000. The primary objectives of NIF are to help India become innovative and creative, and to become a global leader in sustainable technologies by scouting, spawning, and sustaining grassroots innovations, to ensure evolution and diffusion of green grassroots innovations on a selective, time-bound, and mission-oriented basis, so as to meet socio-economic and environmental needs of the society, to provide institutional support for such activities, to seek self-reliance, to build actually linkage between the grassroots innovators and the industry and other organization, and to provide a wider social awareness and information. So I have referred some grassroots innovations from this book. You can go and refer this book. This is available free of cost for your reading on the website of NIRF. The link is given on the slide. So the first example from this actually 2009 Ignite Awards of NIF. So she is actually a class 8 student over here. You see this Vinisha Uma Shankar. So she is a student from this Tamil Nadu, and she has designed this solar ironing cart. So as you can see over here, it's very clear and evident from this illustration. She has designed actually a ironing cart, a mobile ironing cart, which has these solar photovoltaic actually panel, on the top, to actually generate power for the requirement of this ironing. Usually we have seen actually such uh, vans, or these such actually cars, which utilize either electricity. For that they have to be stationed at one place and draw some power, or they use majorly like a coal based actually these heating in these their irons. So this is one of the I think this is the winner of this actually challenge in the year 2019. So it's such a a simple approach. It's such a a ground to earth approach. Why can't one think of this? But yes, this came to mind of this girl, and see how efficiently actually how amazingly she has actually put this idea together into a workable actually solution. This is completely a workable solution. One can build it very easily, and one can actually make use of actually this actually innovation. Further, we have this second example from this Vaibhav Parida. He's a student of class 8 again from Odisha, and he has designed a visually challenged friendly toilets, like how to facilitate these actually toilets for the people who are actually visually challenged. So a system actually guided by this sound. So as simple as that, he has used actually this technique to guide these visually challenged our friends, so that they can actually be guided in a public toilet area. Just based on this system. So these tiles have will have some sensors, to sense the movement of these people, and with the help of a speakers, as you can see over here, he has illustrated in this a sketch. These people will be guided. Even the faucets and these water closet units, they will also can be actually connected with the using artificial intelligence these network, and they can actually help our brothers. So further, we have this example of expandable food plate. So this is a class 6 student. See how these children, they have come up with the novel ideas. So that is actually overall point over here. Innovation is not just a quality of only the learned and the only the highly qualified. Innovation can be done from, can come from anybody at any point of time. So she has actually designed this expandable food plate, the tiffin which we these actually students carry to the school. They can actually convert this tiffin itself as a plate, and they can use it for their having meals. Further, there is this insect killing dustbin, from a student from Odisha. This is Tanmay Kumar Sethi, class 7 student. So usually we have seen this as a common sight in on the roadsides, wherever actually there is a garbage collection or these dustbins, there is a lot of flies, mosquito, and other kind of these insects actually kept lingering. So how this can actually take care of these pests also. So he has designed this actually product. Further, we have this beautiful example, a beautiful innovation from these set of like these two kids, okay, who are class from like class 6 and 7, Swadha Krishna and Swastik Subham Sith. They one is from like Karnataka, another one is from like Odisha. They have designed this modified broom with dust collector for cleaning ceilings. So this is how interesting it can be without actually spoiling the lower floor, or even like spilling it on ourselves. One can actually save using like a such a, actually an inverted umbrella system in the broomstick. So how novel ideas. You see, the further we have this easy cleaning water tank. Usually like the tanks what we use, actually they accumulate a lot of like a dust and dirt at the bottom, and it becomes very difficult to clean them. So why can't we have this tapered actually surface at the lower area, to clean them efficiently in just one swipe only. So this is designed by this Siddhant Kumar, class 9 student from Bihar. So further we have this a sickle. You may have actually seen this sickle. Sickle is a very integral instrument for like any agriculturist, any farmer who actually has like crops to cut and take this harvest from the like a field, and usually they end up actually cutting their fingers, hands, sometimes like injuring themselves very badly. So the problem is in this like agricultural field, the medical help may be like placed a few kilometers away, and this is actually crucial time whenever there is a any such like a medical like emergency arises in the like agricultural field. So why not to have actually a first aid kit, a life saving kit, kept inside this sickle itself. So this is actually an idea, novel idea from this student, and he's like a Krishan Thakur. So he's from like a Gujarat. So further, this idea has the potential to be developed into a full-fledged product, which will definitely help our like farmers and yeah, these people who are working in the field. Lastly, we have this an innovative idea of like a sleepwalking detector and preventer, from like a Shivan Amritesh. He's from like Bihar. Well, this is a medical condition. Some people actually suffer from these condition. So why can't these people be given with such rest, which if they sleepwalk, in the like middle of the nights, so this will give them generate some vibration, some shock, and will help them, coming to their senses, and will be actually quite a saving actually for them, because one never know like what kind of harms they may actually land up into while like a sleepwalking. So see like how simple, but how wonderful these ideas are. So that is the whole intention over here. Like, innovation is not limited to anybody, any one person or any one context. It's actually a spontaneous phenomena which can happen, which can occur like anywhere. So keep thinking, keep enjoying. So with this we have come to the end of today's this lecture of innovations. Thank you everyone.